Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Just 2 minutes after 7. That's not a bad start. Yeah, big round of applause is right. Tonight is a moment of history for our community. In this sacred space, newly renewed yet filled with so many memories, we come together to honor the memory and the legacy of Rabbi Dr. Reuven Pinchas Bulka of blessed memory, whose spirit, his vision, and his dedication built so much of what we cherish here today. This is not just a milestone for our synagogue. It's a moment that resonates across Ottawa, Canada, and really the global Jewish community, because Rabbi Bulka's leadership touched at all of those spaces. This evening marks the culmination of a vision that began years ago, a vision that Rabbi Bulka himself helped shape before his passing, and one that, in truth, he had been implementing through every action and every word for more than 50 years. That vision has come to life in so many ways, including our new youth wing, which is alive and bustling with energy every single week. The Rabbi Bulka Library, which is a lasting center of learning and inspiration. And the Rabbi Bulka Siddur, the prayer book, bringing Rabbi Bulka's voice, wisdom, and warmth into our prayers every single day. And now, the very heart of it all, our beautifully renewed sanctuary, the place from which Rabbi Bulka's faith, his words, his warmth, and his care radiated outward to every corner of our community. By dedicating this sacred space as the Rabbi Bulka Sanctuary, we honor the very essence of everything he stood for. Tonight is about honoring that legacy, and it's only right that we begin by thanking those who made this moment possible. We begin by thanking Hashem, by thanking God for bringing us to this moment of great blessing. Our heartfelt thanks to the co-chairs of the Rabbi Bulka Legacy Project, Bram Bregman and Ron Prehogan, and to your families. To every one of our donors and your families, your generosity has made this possible, and we are forever grateful. To our design committee, that's Susan Firestone, Sharon Weinstein, Stan Levine, and chaired by our second vice president, Samantha Sigler. Thank you very, very much. To our construction team at MB Ford, who are with us every step of the way, thank you very much. And to TD Bank for standing beside us. And finally for now, to my colleagues at Machzikei Hadas, at our synagogue, our staff and our team who pour their hearts and souls into everything that happens here. So we're going to begin our evening with the dedication of our sanctuary. And together with it, the celebration, the inauguration of the new Rabbi Bulka Siddur, the new Rabbi Bulka prayer book. You'll find a copy of the Siddur in front of you. It's a beautiful new prayer book, years in the making. We plan to dedicate an entire Shabbat to this remarkable work, but tonight we're going to mark its official inauguration. We thank Rabbi Moshe Fogel for his tireless and excellent work editing and distilling Rabbi Bulka's wisdom into concise, uplifting passages that guide us through prayer. And we thank Paul Bregman for giving of himself so much to make this part of Rabbi Bulka's vision a reality. This Siddur, this prayer book brings, as I said before, it brings Rabbi Bulka's voice, wisdom, and warmth into our prayers each and every day. And now we're going to arrive at the actual dedication ceremony. As we think about Rabbi Bulka's legacy, we think of all those who stood beside him those who believed in his vision and helped make it come alive, helped make it become a reality. We think of the many board members of our synagogue through the years, sisterhood members, and we think about the presidents of our congregation. From the moment Rabbi Bulka arrived in Ottawa nearly 60 years ago to today, each president, and even before that, each president has shaped this congregation in lasting ways. So on behalf of our current president, Zev Simmons, and First Lady Yudit, we now invite two of our past presidents, individuals who gave their hearts and souls to this synagogue and shared uniquely close and precious relationships with Rabbi Bulka. We ask David Freeman and Dr. Harry Prezant to please come forward on behalf of all of our past presidents and their families. So our dedication, it begins with the opening of the doors of the Ark, the heart of our sanctuary, the home of our Torah scrolls, and the source of so much inspiration for how Rabbi Bulka lived his life and in turn inspired ours. The curtain inside that you're going to see in just a moment, it bears the coat of arms of our synagogue, a symbol that meant the world to Rabbi Bulka, as it united his love of faith and of country. Our synagogue was the first in Canadian history to be granted a coat of arms, a powerful emblem of everything Rabbi Bulka and Machzikei Hadas stand for. So, we are now going to ask everyone to rise. And I ask everyone to take the prayer book from in front of them. And we're going to open it up to page 134 in the English, page 135 in the Hebrew. And as we open the Ark in just a moment, we will recite together a short prayer for peace, known as Oseh Shalom. This prayer captures Rabbi Bulka's lifelong devotion to healing the world, bringing goodness, kindness, and peace to our community, our country, and beyond. But it went beyond world peace. It was about peace in every single interaction, peace within our communities, in our families, and in our hearts. Rabbi Bulka believed that peace was far more important than being right. And in my mind, that is one of the most powerful pieces of his legacy. So as we dedicate our renewed sanctuary, we're going to pray for peace. And we're going to commit to living with peace as a guiding force in our lives. We'll recite the prayer together in English and then sing it in Hebrew as we open up the Ark. We'll recite it together in English on page 134, right in the middle of the page. May he who makes peace in his high places make peace for us and all Israel, and say, Amen. Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, v'yal Yisrael, Imru, Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Please remain standing. Rabbi Bulka cared deeply about the next generation, both within our synagogue and across the wider community. To honor that vision, we now invite a group of young women, graduates of our new Bat Mitzvah experience, now in its third cohort, an experience, a program that has been inspiring communities around the world to lead us in two prayers. They will guide us through the prayer for Canada, authored by Rabbi Bulka himself, followed then by the prayer for Israel. And we can find these two prayers on page 520 and then 523.
May God, who has blessed our patriarchs and matriarchs, bestow blessing upon the Governor General, the Prime Minister, and the Government of Canada. Grant them wisdom and courage in these challenging times. Bless them with the wisdom to properly guide our beloved country. Imbue them with courage in their efforts to strengthen Canada. Protect our brave armed forces and frontline heroes and return them safely to their loved ones. And may we all together continue to experience Canada resolute in its togetherness and cooperative in its diversity. Avinu Shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'Goalo. Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reishit Tzmichat Geulatenu. Hagen alea be'evrat chesdecha, ufros alea sukat shlomecha. Ushlach orcha v'yamitcha l'roshea, sarea v'yotzea, v'taknem be'etzah tova mlefanecha. חזק את ידי מגיני ארץ קדשנו והנחילם אלוהינו ישועה ועטרת ניצחון תעטרם. ונתת שלום בארץ ושמחת עולם ליושביה. ואת אחינו כל בית ישראל פקד נא בכל ארצות פזוריהם. ותוליכם מהרה קוממיות לציון עירך ולירושלים משכן שמך. ככתוב בתורת משה עבדך. אם יהיה נדחך בקצה השמיים, משם יקבצך אדוני אלוהיך, ומשם יקחך. והביאך אדוני אלוהיך אל הארץ אשר ירשו אבותיך, וישגע והיטיבך והרבך מאבותיך. ומל אדוני אלוהיך את לבבך ואת לבב זרעך, לאהבה את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך, למען חייך. ויחד לבבינו לאהבה ולרע את שמך, ולשמור את כל דברי תורתך, ושלח לנו מהרה בן דוד משיח צדקך, לפדות מחלקי ישועתך. והופע באדר גאון עוזך, על כל יושבי תבלתך, ויאמר כל אשר נשמע באפו, אדוני אלוהי ישראל מלך ומלכותו בכל משלה, אמן סלע.
Thank you so much. And at this point, as we close the doors to the Aron, to the Ark, we can ask everyone to once again be seated. Thank you. As we conclude our dedication, we now move into the second part of our evening, which is a celebration of Rabbi Bulka's legacy. Our celebration will unfold in 5 parts, each capturing a different dimension of Rabbi Bulka's life and impact. It is a tremendous honor, and I still can't seem to get over it, to have Rabbi Bulka's family with us tonight. Yeah, big round of applause. Every one of Rabbi Bulka's children is here. Rabbi Bulka's beloved wife, Leah, is here. Rabbi Bulka has some grandchildren here. And we remember with love the memory of Naomi Bulka, Rabbi Bulka's late first wife. Tonight is our opportunity. It's our opportunity as a community to say thank you to the Bulka family for sharing Rabbi Bulka with us and for supporting him in his mission to uplift all of us. To Rabbi Bulka's children, I never had the privilege of meeting your mother, but I have heard of her remarkable legacy. Her and your father's shared impact endures so visibly in the Naomi Bulka mikvah, a sacred space that stands as a testament to what she brought to our community. We would be honored if all of you would please come forward at this moment, and Rabbi Binyamin Bulka, we would be honored if you would come and share a few words. Please. As many would like. Yeah. Yeah, come on. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Rabbi Sher. I think the last time I stood up here was by my bar mitzvah. It's quite an eerie feeling. On behalf of my siblings and family members who are here, I want to thank Rabbi Sher, Rabbi Goldstein, all the dreamers, the planners, the doers, the generous benefactors that invested their time, their energy, their resources in this wonderful project, turning a dream into a reality, and especially for sparing no resource in ensuring that we be part of this special event. I believe I capture all of our sentiments when I say it is very special to be here. This place is stunning. Every aspect, from design to execution. I especially appreciate how there are certain timeless aspects of this shul that were preserved and meshed and incorporated as part of the fresh modern look. It gives a feeling of the now and of the then coming together, and really makes this feel not like a new shul, but a perpetuation of the legacy. And the siddur, the magnificent siddur. My father will be proud and honored to behold this magnificent edifice and to this beautiful siddur, which he worked so hard to make a reality. And he is undoubtedly smiling down from heaven at every one of you who is part of this project, part of this shul, part of this community. It's very appropriate that we are currently reading the parashiot of the Torah portions relating to the Avos, the patriarchs, Avos, Imos, patriarchs, and matriarchs. Our sages taught us that every aspect of our patriarchs' lives was dedicated to investing in the full fruition of their progeny as an entire nation, not merely individuals, but as a nation that would reflect God and all of his kindness and moral fortitude unto the whole world. In this week's portion, Sarah, Avram, and Sarah pass away. And they, along with their children, Yitzchak and Rivka, Yaakov and Rachel and Leah, all passed away and did not witness the realization of their investment. Yet it is their resolute dedication towards that dream that allowed us, their progeny, to be part of that ever-evolving development and realization of that dream. My father, Rabbi Bulka, was not merely my and my siblings' father. He was a father figure to everyone here, to the shul and to the community. He was the moral backbone and voice of reason in our community and beyond in the face of all adversity. He was the pillar of kindness for the community, for the city of Ottawa, and the entire country. He did not just want to influence and reshape the community, the city, or even the country. He wanted to change the world. He wanted to permeate the world with kindness, reason, and moral fortitude. This has yet to be realized. It was his dream that this community continue to develop and have an active part in the realization of this dream. The rededication of this shul in his honor is not merely a renovated building. It's a perpetuation of his legacy. God willing, it will serve as a hotbed for the further development of the community that was his very self, and in turn the further perpetuation and realization of his dreams. I'd like to end with a blessing. We excitedly celebrate the revitalization and rededication of this wonderful edifice and the wonderful sitter. Just want to point out, I really appreciated the sitter for the Shliach Tzibur. They thought of every single last thing, every single aspect. And we're opening a new chapter of growth and development in the community. When one is about to embark on a new frontier, the traditional Jewish blessing is, you'd say to a person, is Hatzlacha Rabbah, meaning may you have success in all your endeavors. So let's close with a loud, boisterous, transcontinental, earth-shattering 1, 2, 3, Hatzlacha Rabbah.
Thank you very, very much. As I said, tonight is our opportunity to thank you, to thank each and every one of you. And we present each and every one of you with a copy of the Rabbi Bulka Siddur right behind you. So I'm going to... And in true Machzikei Hadas fashion, what do we do when we say thank you? I just want to introduce some of you to the words Toda Rabbah. Toda Rabbah is Hebrew for thank you, but I think most of you know what we're about to do. I don't have the same introduction as Rabbi Binyamin Bulka does, but 1, 2, 3, Toda Rabbah. Thank you very, very much. Oh, picture? I'll take a picture.
I am grateful for the life that I've lived, which includes everything. My parents, my grandparents, unfortunately, I never met, but and of course, obviously, the life that I've lived, my dear wives, my children, their children, their children's children, and the opportunity to have a rabbinic life that, contrary to all the warnings that I got that being a rabbi is not the profession for a Jewish boy, I found it to be so wonderfully fulfilling.
Rabbi Bulka, how would you like to be remembered?
I don't. You see, it's an interesting thing. If you ask me, for my wife and my kids, that that they feel happy that this is who their father or their husband was, right? Mm-hmm. For other people, I guess similarly, that I know it's a trite thing to say that you made a difference. think I unmuted myself. Thank you very, very much. I think this is probably the first time in history that a rabbi of a shul unmuted the rabbi emeritus. It's a wonderful gift to the entire Share family. With what they have done, it becomes a wonderful gift to the entire shul and greater community. And we fervently hope that she will be just a wonderful reflection of her dear parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents. Mazel tov to you all, and we're looking forward to pinching her cheeks when it's allowable. Mazel tov.
That last video was a baby naming in the very height of COVID, and it was a baby naming for our youngest daughter, Shena Yonina. Rabbi Bulka was with us through every moment of our lives, moments of pain and parting, moments of joy and celebration, and every single milestone in between. Generations of families have felt his kindness and care. One such family, 4 generations of connection still living in Ottawa today, is the Vered family. And we'll ask him to please come up to share their story. So at this point, we welcome Liz, her daughter Dania, her son-in-law David, and their children, Mila and Yara. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Dania Vered. This is my mom Liz, my husband David, and our 2 girls Mila and Yara. It's an honor to speak on behalf of the extended Vered family about Rabbi Bulka's commitment to the people of his community. Rabbi Bulka played a constant and pivotal role in our family for 4 generations. Our late father's parents, Sarah and Zev Vered, were early supporters of Rabbi Bulka when he arrived in Ottawa and had a lifelong friendship with him. That friendship cascaded from generation to generation. Rabbi Bulka provided guidance, humor, and humility for all of us through our major simchot. We're a big family, so that's a lot of simchot. That's a lot of bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, brises, baby namings, and weddings.
One of the very special things about Rabbi Bulka was that he served his community here in Ottawa, as well as traveling to serve his community elsewhere. And in my case, it was to Montreal. For those of you who don't know, my mother grew up in Ottawa. She was a Soloway Greenberg. And when I called Rabbi Bulka in 1998, and I said to him, I need to tell you something, he went, oh, did your mother pass away? And I said, yes, she did. And he said, well, would you like me to come to Montreal? And the special thing was I didn't have to ask. And my father had said to me, do you think Rabbi Bulka would come? And I said, well, I can ask him. I didn't have to ask. He offered. And it was very special to our family who had known him. And again, my mother had known him for a lot of years, and it was really just something that we all appreciated. Back in Ottawa, of course, there was my late husband Arnie, and they had a very, very special relationship. They studied together, they sat on boards together, they even played in the same Jewish men's baseball league together, and obviously there was so much more. Rabbi Bulka knew that if he ever asked Arnie to do anything, Arnie could never say no. And he would come home and he'd say to me, I have to do this thing, and I'd go, just tell Rabbi Bulka to call me. I can say no, you can't. So, you know, it didn't matter what he asked him, Arnie would do it. And in return, when Arnie was going through his cancer journey, he turned to me one night and he said, so can you just go downstairs and open the door? And I went, are you seriously? It's midnight. He said, no, it's okay, Rabbi Bulka's coming over to talk. And it happened on more than one occasion. They just were there for each other, and we can't say anymore. We were so privileged as a community and as a family to know and be a part of his life, and we appreciate it so much.
Oh, not done, but thank you. Sorry. Rabbi Bulka traveled for his community, as my mom mentioned, but he did so even when that travel meant back to Ottawa. Rabbi Bulka gave us the gift of a bittersweet simcha 11 years ago. He married, my husband David and I, by our dad's hospital bedside the day before he died. Still raw, 11 years later. But also it's the kindness. Rabbi Bulka was traveling from New York to Windsor to officiate the wedding of a former congregant there. When we called him to tell him that our dad was close to the end of his life and asked him to perform a wedding ceremony at the hospital bedside, he drove through the night to get back, arriving at our dad's hospital room at 3 o'clock in the morning, ready for his final meaningful conversation with our dad. Years later, when circumstances would see Rabbi Bulka in his final months, he traveled again to be a meaningful part of our family simcha. This time it was over video during another COVID baby naming for our youngest daughter, Yara. In what may be one of his final rabbi roles, just a few months before he died, he announced Yara's name and spoke beautifully about its meaning and connection to the different generations of our family here in Ottawa. He reminded us again what a role he has played in our lives, and our lives are fuller because of him. Thank you.
Kindness is so easy, it's almost like a crime not to be kind. And the rewards that you get from it, they're instantaneous and they're contagious. You'll be happier because of it. You'll be generating an environment in which everyone else is also happy. So it's a win-win-win. Why wouldn't you do it? It's so easy.
And here is a man of true compassion. He's done it by showing compassion for so many people in need, through his leadership in the Regional Cancer Foundation, through his remarkable leadership in promoting organ donations, through his support for CHIO and the Canada Blood Services. But I know every one of you who knows Rabbi Bulka has your own personal story about how he has been an exemplar of how compassion is good.
It's really surprising people as they're coming off here, the plane, and welcoming them to Ottawa, telling them it's kind this week, and this is our kind way of welcoming them to the city. And it's basically a nice, easy way of spreading good feelings. And everyone that comes is delighted, they're happy. How else could they feel about being greeted by an imam, the Archbishop of Ottawa, the Imam of Ottawa, representatives of other faith communities, including the Hindu, and the Rabbi? It's great. So they feel really terrific about it, and that's what kindness is all about.
The D in D-Day does not stand for anything specific, but we can make this a specifically D-year. A D-year that stands for everything, everything meaningful. How do we achieve a banner D-year? We achieve that by championing what our veterans fought to protect. Here is a blueprint for a D-year. Let us dazzle in the dynamic devotion to our destiny as a country determined in its dedication to the dignified diversity of its people, as we delight in the delivery of deferential decency with discipline and diligence to assure that we can all live the Canadian dream. God bless our veterans, God bless our troops, God bless all those who stand on guard, peace champions all, here and abroad. God bless Canada. Amen.
Rabbi Bulka's energy, his wit, and his passion for kindness shape the very fabric of our city, our province, and our country. We are so honored by the presence of many distinguished leaders here this evening, and we're going to have the great privilege of hearing from some of them tonight. I do want to point out two special guests of honor before I introduce our speakers. I want to point out John Fraser. He's our, for our riding, he's our member of provincial parliament, and it's an honor to have you here this evening. And this was an incredible last-minute surprise, but we have Sarah Levinson here with us this evening. And Sarah and, of course, her dear husband, Cantor Chazan Levinson, were a fixture, a foundation of our Machzikei Hadas community for decades upon decades, and it means the world to us that you're here with us this evening. And you also may have seen a whole bunch of clergy people in those videos. We have some of them here tonight, some of them that weren't at the airport then, but are here tonight, and it's a great honor to have you all here with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now we invite the Honorable David McGuinty, Minister of National Defense, Member of Parliament for our riding, someone who worked closely with Rabbi Bulka for so many years. Now, Rabbi Bulka's relationship extended to the entire McGuinty family, including longtime Ontario Premier Dalton McGuinty, who is here with us this evening as well. It's a great honor to have you here, David, the Honorable David McGuinty, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Bonsoir. I want to begin by thanking Rabbi Sher for the invitation to be here this evening. Rabbi, if you didn't know, your beautiful, wise words of counsel today at the War Memorial were absolutely superb. Thank you so much. Thank you. Almost as good as Rabbi Bulka. It's a great honor to be here with you this evening, of course, with my brother Dalton. Dalton and I got to know Rabbi Bulka over many, many years. And my family came to rely on Rabbi Bulka's wisdom and guidance in the face of some of our greatest challenges. Some of the most difficult moments, local crises, global crises, we would turn to him. We would call on him for help. I met with him repeatedly in the basement office of this synagogue, where he would listen, and I can confirm indeed to his family who are here today that he's very much a father figure for my 9 brothers and sisters and I. We got you beat. And I never let him forget it. I remember reaching out to him at one point during the 2006 Lebanon war to ask for his advice. It was very difficult. What could we do? What should we do? And it was particularly difficult. Over 1,000 families here locally were being affected. So we were trying to get people out and home. And as I always did, he offered his time graciously, offered his wisdom. I know Dalton and I and our siblings will be forever grateful for his good counsel over so many years. And in fact, having recently just returned from the Ukraine, from Korea, from the Philippines, and from the Indo-Pacific just last week, we could sure use that counsel now. It's a difficult time. And as Rabbi Sher said, he would rather have peace than be right. I think we can use more of that. He served as our collective moral compass, a beacon of hope in many challenging times. He really was truly a community builder, promoting interfaith dialogue. He led it. He started it. Health research and humanitarian causes. As Canada's rabbi, he inspired people across the country to live with optimism, humility, and devotion to kindness. And thanks to those efforts, Canada was the first country in the world to enact a Kindness Week, Rabbi Bulka's Kindness Week. Something absolutely incredible. Something that I've shared overseas, around the world, and something that we're asked about regularly. His legacy of kindness, wisdom, and faith lives on, locally with those of us who had the privilege of knowing him, but also across Canada. Vancouver recently, I was accosted by somebody saying, "Do you live in Rabbi Bulka's riding?" In closing, I'd like to encourage us all to live by these wise words. Rabbi Bulka spoke at the Remembrance Day ceremony, I think the one that we saw in the video, 6 years ago today. Particularly moving to me in my current role as Minister of Defense. Let us continue to make Canada worthy of their dedication and sacrifice, a country in which respect, harmony, inclusion, responsibility, and kindness fill the air. Rabbi Bulka, your rabbi, if I might, our rabbi, Canada's rabbi. May his memory be a blessing. Thank you very much.
We now invite His Worship, our Mayor, Mark Sutcliffe, a dear friend of our community, someone who shared an extremely special relationship with Rabbi Bulka, to please come up and share some words.
Thank you, Rabbi Sher. It's truly an honor to be here tonight. Good evening, everyone. Bonsoir tout le monde. So great to look out and see so many friends, so many community leaders who are here today to remember Rabbi Bulka. And I want to start by thanking everyone here tonight, including my colleagues from Ottawa City Council, Marty Carr and David Hill, and the other elected officials who are here, John Fraser, Yasser Naqvi, of course, David, who you heard from, former Premier Dalton McGuinty. Great to see all of you. Great to see the leaders of the community here tonight as well. And I want to congratulate the co-chairs of the Rabbi Bulka Legacy Project, Bram Bregman and Ron Prehogan. Thank you for your leadership. To all the congregants and to the leaders of the Jewish community who are here tonight, to the friends and family members and the residents of our city who cared so deeply about Rabbi Bulka. It's great to see all of you, and most especially to Rabbi Bulka's family. Thank you for sharing him with us, and thank you for sharing tonight with us. It really is a privilege and an honor to join with you tonight as we dedicate this sanctuary in his name. And I have to say, it's kind of a tough job to talk about Rabbi Bulka briefly and to talk about his legacy and not take an hour or two to do so. To sum up such an extraordinary life and such an incredible impact in just a few words is a challenge, because for more than 50 years, he was the heart of not just this congregation and community, but our entire city. He came here in the 1960s, and it was easy to forget that he wasn't from Ottawa because he meant so much to this community. And beyond his role as a rabbi, he was a teacher, he was a counselor, he was a dear friend to so many of us. And I first met Rabbi Bulka when I was working at CFRA, probably something like 30 years ago, and he was hosting a show on Sunday nights. And I think it was called Sunday Night with Rabbi Bulka. It's a good name. And on a cold day like today, and I often was working on Sundays when I was first starting my broadcasting career, and on a cold day like today, he would get out of his car with no jacket on, just walk right into the radio station 30 seconds before the show started. Everybody was in a panic about whether he was going to get there on time or not. I think I was supposed to take over if he didn't for some reason arrive, but that never happened. And he would walk right into the studio and just start talking. And it was a great show. It was a great show. We had many things in common, including our love of baseball. He would have had a great time watching the World Series over the last few weeks. That would have been very special for him. We talked about baseball many times, and I'll never forget one time, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, I was taking my son to the Duluth Arena, which is, kind of near the Carling and Churchill area, the Duluth Arena, for where my son was going to play hockey, and I wandered outside, and there was a baseball game going on in the park next to the arena, and there was Rabbi Bulka pitching and playing baseball. He was everywhere in our community, and he wrote more than 30 books. He shared his wisdom in columns in the Ottawa Citizen and on the radio through countless community meetings and events. It was through him that I learned about Viktor Frankl. I had many conversations with him about Viktor Frankl. So many charitable acts. He was everywhere. United Way, the Cancer Foundation, so many other organizations. But what mattered most to me was just how he lived, the example that he set for all of us. He gave his time freely and generously, as you've already heard, to so many who were seeking his guidance or just someone to talk to. And when I think about Rabbi Bulka, I think about kindness. And when I think about kindness, I think about Rabbi Bulka. Kindness not as an idea, but as something we all need to practice every single day. Of course, we need to extend kindness to those we hold dear, the people closest to us. But we need to extend kindness to even those with whom we might not see eye to eye. That was the Rabbi Bulka way. He believed the values of our faith must reach far beyond whatever congregation we belong to, that we are called upon to build bridges between faiths, standing side by side with one another, especially in moments of hardship and sorrow. That openness made him a moral voice for our entire city. Rabbi Bulka helped Ottawa be better and kinder every single day of his life in our community. Ottawa would not be the city it is today without Rabbi Bulka. I think of him all the time. If I could have somebody sitting on my shoulder telling me what to do every day, I'd pick him. I think about his example, the example he set for all of us as a leader in our community. I rely on his example almost every day. And the one thing that sticks with me, beyond all the amazing things that he did, every time I saw Rabbi Bulka, I walked away feeling better, feeling brighter, feeling lighter, feeling more hopeful, more optimistic, feeling happier. What more could you say about a person than that? So tonight we hold Dr. Reuven Bulka, Rabbi Bulka, in our hearts, and we come together in this sanctuary to honor him and to carry his legacy forward. Thank you.
Speaking of making Ottawa a better place, we introduce our next speaker, and that's Dan Greenberg. Dan, together with his wife Barbara, they're the leading donors of the Rabbi Bulka Legacy Project. Dan certainly saw Rabbi Bulka as a father figure. He shared those words with me himself. And Dan and Barbara, together with Rabbi Bulka, accomplished so much for our city, and we are so grateful. Dan, please.
I'm not a politician and I'm not the mayor or the minister of defense, but I do have something I can tell you that they cannot. This speech is Barbara approved. I reached out to a friend in palliative care today. He texted me back, Rabbi Bulka always spoke so eloquently on Remembrance Day, always the most poignant message. He exuded a warmth and a confidence. He always reinforced my belief that light will triumph over darkness. I found my friend's words to be quite precious and inspiring. Today, I think that many of us would agree that we live in a world where, more than ever, the post-war period of harmony has been broken. More than ever, it appears that the Jewish concept of tikkun olam, repairing our world, seems to apply. We need to keep working together to repair and improve our world. To me, this was Rabbi Bulka's message throughout his life. Rabbi Bulka's life was full of goodness, kindness, wisdom, and yes, even puns. I was naive. I will admit it. I took Rabbi Bulka for granted. He was a part of this congregation. He was a part of this city. He was a part of this province and this country. He was spreading kindness. He was fighting cancer. He was giving blood. He was bringing together different faiths. His words and deeds were working to bring us together. Rabbi Bulka seemed to always be a part of my life, and I'm sure your life. And a naive part of me felt that Rabbi Bulka would always be with us. I never stopped to think about a world without this tremendous leader. Sadly, we are at that point today. We see threats and disharmony we never faced before. We see hate, we see injustice, we see war. Friends, in the spirit of Rabbi Bulka, we must not lose hope. We must keep the faith. We must continue to make the world a better place for all. As Rabbi Sher reminded us earlier today, sometimes we have to protect the world that we hold dear, just as Canadian soldiers did over 80 years ago on Juno Beach in France. I hope that this sanctuary today and for many generations to come will inspire us. I hope that the Rabbi Bulka Sanctuary today and for many generations to come will remind us, as my friend said, that light will triumph over darkness. I hope that this sanctuary will remind us that in the spirit of Rabbi Bulka, we must work together and use goodness, kindness, wisdom, and yes, even puns. As Rabbi Bulka would say, sei gesund.
Zichrono Levacha, was many things to many people. A devoted spiritual leader of his congregation, Machzikei Hadat, for over 5 decades, a scholar, prolific author of dozens of books, an activist, and president of the Canadian Jewish Congress, a champion of numerous noble causes, including organ transplantation and blood donations. Actually, he knew members of the family of past generations, and the linkage between Israel and Canada was a pillar of his life. The common thread weaved throughout Rabbi Bulka's lifetime of impact was his passion for practicing kindness and inspiring selflessness in others. The attribute of kindness served as the core motivation in every dimension of his life. It propelled him to do more, do better, and do just. Rabbi Bulka was a public servant in the deepest sense of the word, a cherished servant of his congregation, a loyal servant of his country, Canada, a servant of his beloved homeland, Israel, a servant of the Jewish people, and one who strived for unity of the Jewish people.
Rabbi Bulka's leadership reached far beyond Ottawa. There's no Jewish institution in this city untouched by his influence, and his impact on Canadian and global Jewry is immeasurable. He was a scholar, an innovator, a rabbinic leader, a trailblazer in different areas of Jewish thought and practice, including the areas of organ donation and welcoming new Jews to our community. To reflect on that legacy, we are honored to invite Rabbi Dr. Shimon Koffler-Fogel, a distinguished leader who for 4 decades has represented Canadian Jewry on the national and global stage and served our own Machzikei Hadas community alongside Rabbi Bulka for that same span of time. Rabbi Fogel.
So I'm going to have to go off script a little bit for a couple of additions that aren't part of the formal program. Just for the sake of full disclosure, I think a large part of the reason that I'm at the podium is my leadership of the Canada-Israel Committee and subsequently the Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs. As many of you know, I stepped down just about a year ago, and I'm delighted that my successor, Noah Shack, is here this evening. I hope you all have a chance to connect with him, not least because I'd like you to direct all of your comments and your grievances about everything that's wrong in the world to Noah. So he's right next to Ian Sherman in the second to back row. David Smith and the team at CKC put together a beautiful reception later on, so as you're enjoying your cake, Noah's the guy to speak to. The second unscripted piece is I was asked to step in to share a message from former Prime Minister Stephen J. Harper. Apparently, he had prepared a video, but for technical reasons, it could not be shared this evening. So his staff transcribed it into a note, and I was asked to convey his message to you. I'm pleased to offer this special message in celebration of the enduring legacy of our friend, Rabbi Dr. Reuven Bulka. Rabbi Bulka was a rare leader whose voice and values shaped not only his congregation, but the landscape of our country. He served his community for more than 50 years as a rabbi, a scholar, a counselor, and a bridge builder between faiths and communities. He reminded Canadians that compassion is the foundation of a good society. Through Kind Canada and the creation of National Kindness Week, he brought these ideas to life. Tonight's dedication is not about a building. No, my friends, tonight is about service, humility, and love for one another. Rabbi Bulka's legacy will endure here, and we can all know that his message will grow and spread for many generations to come. Lorene and I send our warmest regards to Rabbi Bulka's family and to all of you honoring his extraordinary life. May his legacy continue to bless this community and our country for generations to come, and may you all be inspired to carry his light into the world. Signed, Stephen J. Harper. Now, in this part 4 of the program, it's titled Leading Jewish Canada and Global Jewry, but I actually had a double task, and the other one is not captured in the title. Given all of Rabbi Bulka's accomplishments in so many different spheres of human experience, it would be understandable for people to forget that at his core, Rabbi Bulka was a Talmud Chacham. He was a sage, so well versed in all of the codes and Jewish rabbinical literature. And I wouldn't want the evening to pass with all those other accomplishments eclipsing his contribution to Jewish scholarship and indeed to secular scholarship, as his worship mentioned, in the area of psychology. I could regale you for hours with particular anecdotes of how Rabbi Bulka demonstrated that scholarship. But I'm going to limit it to just 2 very quick stories. I had the opportunity to learn one-on-one with Rabbi Bulka for many years. And it reflected different phases, not in our relationship, but in my growth and learning. And whenever he had an opportunity, he would invite me to join him when he was confronted with particular halachic or Jewish legal challenges that he had to navigate through. One of them related to something that has become a classic in Jewish rabbinical literature. And it related to Joe the Butcher. We had apparently many, before my time in Ottawa, many different kosher butcher shops, but they all consolidated and came together under the title of United Kosher Butcher. And Joe Lichtenstein, of blessed memory, was the owner of that establishment. Rabbi Bulka calls me one day and he says, "You want to come on an interesting ride?" And I agreed, and he swung around, he picked me up, and we went down to the other side of town where United Kosher was located. And on the way, he explains to me what the challenge is. Joe the Butcher had received an extraordinarily large shipment of meat. The problem was that the container in which it arrived was not sealed. Now, according to Jewish law, in order to ensure during movement of meat from one location to another, it has to be sealed in a way that ensures that it has not been tampered with. This was a very large quantity of meat. It was in the lead up to Passover, and that's one of the 2 periods during the year where there's a spike in consumption of meat products. And Joe the Butcher had already signed for the delivery. Now, according to strict Jewish law, if the seal is broken and it is not under the constant supervision of somebody in whom one can have confidence that nothing would have been amiss, no meat would have been replaced or taken out, the meat is determined to be unfit and can't be consumed. This was a large quantity of meat. There is a precedent for this going back hundreds and hundreds of years. And Rabbi Bulka comes into the store, and he encounters just how large the shipment is, and he mutters, "Oh boy." Anyway, without thinking, he says to Joe the butcher, "Has anything been taken out?" Joe the butcher says, "Nope, I didn't do anything after calling you." And Rabbi Bulka said, "Okay, this is what we're going to do. Take your biggest container, meaning take it out of the boxes it was shipped in, and put it in the container after zeroing out the weight of the container." And you know how you can do that on any scale. If you have a container, it's obviously going to register some amount of weight, and you have a device that can bring it down to zero, so that you get the true weight of whatever it is you're putting on the scale. So Joe does that. He had a big white plastic container, and he zeroes it out, and Rabbi Bulka then instructs him to place all of the meat from the shipment in the container. This took about an hour and a half. It was a very large order, and they had to keep on filling it up, registering what the weight was, and then removing it and refilling it with the next batch. To cut to the chase, after totaling up the total weight, he said, "Give me the invoice from the meat shipper." He brings him the invoice, and you know, on the invoice it itemizes what's there and the weight for each thing that was shipped. And it comes out to the exact same weight. Now, in Jewish law, Yoredea, Kufiyot Ches, which Rabbi Bulka knew the page and the exact place of where this is discussed in rabbinic literature without consulting anything. They say that absent a seal, if you have some other sign, a siman, that can confirm the integrity of the meat, then it is permitted. It aligned perfectly. Joe the butcher was very relieved, as were all of the families who were counting on Joe the butcher for their supply for Pesach. I'm going to come back to this story in a minute. The other story has to do with a siddur. It will come not as a surprise to anybody who has worshiped with me. I did not like the prayer book that we used for many years, the Birnbaum prayer book. And sitting on the bima next to the chazan, Rabbi Bulka's co-conspirator for over 3 decades, I would constantly mutter about this or that about the siddur I didn't like. And there's one particular pet peeve. I won't go into the details because it won't mean anything to many of you, but for the Bulka boys, I'll simply say it was in the holiday V'hasienu, where the Birnbaum siddur adds Elokeinu v'Elokei Avoseinu, which is the only place in the world, the only siddur in which it's done. And I was muttering to the chazan, I don't know why we have to say that. Everybody knows it's just wrong, it's a mistake. And the chazan answered me, and he was no slouch when it came to Jewish liturgy. He says, no. I spoke about this once to Rabbi Bulka, and he said, it has a basis, it has a source. I wasn't one to ever accept something on the word. So, as I did many times, I turned to Rabbi Bulka later on, and I challenged him. And I said, where is there a source for adding those three words on a festival that coincides with the Sabbath? And he says, in the Siddur of Rabbi Yaakov Emden. I said, okay. I have a Siddur of Rabbi Yaakov Emden. I went home and I looked in the Siddur. It wasn't there. First time in maybe 60 or 70 challenges to Rabbi Bulka, I got him. I couldn't wait to go back for the afternoon service, and I confronted him and I said, it's not there. I have Rabbi Yaakov Emden's Siddur. And he says, is yours the Lemberg edition? He brought me the Lemberg edition. Needless to say, it's there. I share this with you because I have often said to people over the years, Rabbi Bulka never paskined. He never determined a rule of law or a position or a Jewish practice without some basis. I confess, not only did I learn with him, but when I was studying for Dayanus, judicial ordination with the late Rav Yitzchak Hendel, I often consulted with Rabbi Bulka about things that I didn't quite capture in direct study. Because what I had chosen to learn was Choshen Mishpat, and it's a little more obscure in terms of understanding than other portions of Jewish law. And he never missed a beat. Without having to consult, he knew it all. I share this with you because if we focus exclusively on Rabbi Bulka's scholarship, we actually miss the point of who Rabbi Bulka was. In my studies for Dayanus, he said to me not once and not twice, he said, the mark of a great Rav is not somebody who's able to say no, rather somebody who finds a way to say yes. I want to go back to Joe Lichtenstein. I mentioned that he had signed for the delivery. What that meant was the shipper was no longer responsible. He was liable if the meat was not consumable. And I think that we're talking about tens of thousands of dollars. When we left, Rabbi Bulka turned to me and he said, that was pretty exciting, eh? And I said, yeah. I said, and I have to say, he humbled me often with his knowledge, but I said that you knew the exact citation without having checked in order to allow it. That's a remarkable thing. His response to me was, no, that's my job. The remarkable thing is Joe the butcher. And he went on to elaborate and say, Joe called me. He exposed himself to the liability, to the possibility that he was going to lose tens of thousands of dollars because he knew what the right thing to do was. And I'm not sure that everybody would be able to meet that challenge. The thing for you to celebrate, he concluded, was how great was his sacrifice to call me and to risk losing the whole shipment. See, that's the thing about Rabbi Bulka. It always came back to the principle of people, of love, commitment, care, and service to people. For him, it wasn't that he remembered some obscure halachic decision. For him, it was the validation of a simple guy, Joe the Butcher, a Holocaust survivor who came and made a living and just tried to live a life and grow a family. Everyone in this room can repeat numerous stories that reflect that same thing. And so let me turn to Rabbi Bulka's role outside of our community. I could list all of the different roles that he played. President Herzog referenced him as president of Canadian Jewish Congress. He was an executive vice president of World Jewish Congress. He was the chair of the Presidium, the Rabbinical Presidium of State of Israel Bonds. He was the head of the Jewish Psychology Association, a global effort. The list goes on and on. It didn't matter what organization you were talking about or what role. It was the Cancer Society here in Ottawa. It was World Jewish Congress. His insights, his commitment, always came back to how do we help people? How do we make them better? How do we inspire them? His legacy is complex, it's rich. But we can distill it down to simply doing better, being better, and inspiring others to follow. Because what Rabbi Bulka knew instinctively was that you cannot preach and do different things. So he was, and I think in a very real sense, still represents what we call in Hebrew a dugma chaya, a living example of what to do. He didn't do one thing and tell others to do something else. He lived what he believed and what he wanted to share with others. All of us carry with us as we leave this evening that principle, that challenge, that call to be better, to do better, and inspire others to follow our lead. Thank you.
Ottawa is extremely fortunate that 47 years ago, the search committee for what was then known as the Murray Street Shul decided to take a chance on a 23-year-old, untested, newly minted baseball-playing rabbi from New York City. We're even more fortunate that that rabbi accepted the offer and chose to make Ottawa his home. Since that time, Rabbi Bulka has been a guiding light for so many of us and has helped make the city a more caring and compassionate community.
Break it up. We need your communion. Hey, Darth Vader, DP, as in Davin, here's a sinner.
What would you say is your life story in 6 words?
Trying to make a difference. What Whatever blessings we have in life, we should be grateful for them. We should not take them for granted. We should not squander our health on nonsense. We should do whatever we can to make the world a better place. And whatever blessings that life gives you, grab them.
Rabbi Bulka's legacy, it's alive every single day at Machzikei Hadas. You can feel it in the learning that happens daily, in the energy of Shabbat mornings, in the acts of kindness that ripple throughout our membership and across Ottawa. This is a congregation full of excitement for the future, and that vibrancy is Rabbi Bulka's greatest legacy. Years ago, Ron Prehogan and Bram Bregman, they took the reins of this project with passion and with faith, believing in our past, our present, and our future. We are deeply grateful to you both, and we know how grateful Rabbi Bulka was as well. Please join me in welcoming Ron and Bram, the chairs of the Rabbi Bulka Legacy Project, to share a few words.
In true Rabbi Bulka fashion, I'd like to begin with gratitude to everyone who made this project possible, the donors, board members, synagogue presidents, staff, and countless volunteers. Thank you. When Ron and I were asked back in 2017 to co-chair this project, the goal was to mark two milestones: the 100th anniversary of Machzikei Hadas in 2019, a congregation that began in 1892 and was formally incorporated in 1919, and the 50th anniversary of Rabbi Bulka's arrival in Ottawa, where he began serving in 1967. Like many of you, I think about Rabbi Bulka every single day. His wisdom, warmth, and kindness were constants in my life, from the day I was born, through my bar mitzvah, my wedding, and the birth of my children. Many of us have wondered what Rabbi Bulka would say if he were here tonight. I think I know. After the last major renovation, about 20 years ago, I told him, "Rabbi, the synagogue looks really nice." He smiled and said, "My dear Bram, brick and mortar matter, but what matters more are the people inside." That was Rabbi Bulka's philosophy in two words: people first. It defined him, and it defined Machzikei Hadas as an institution for more than 50 years. Shortly after he moved to Ottawa, Rabbi Bulka began a PhD at the University of Ottawa, but he didn't tell anyone. Why? He didn't want anyone to think he'd be too busy to be there for them. People first. I remember as a child going to rallies outside the Soviet embassy, where Rabbi Bulka stood with a megaphone, leading the call for freedom for Jews he had never even met. People first. If you were sick, in mourning, or simply struggling, he would call or visit without fail. It didn't matter if you were the chief custodian or the chief of staff to the prime minister. Rabbi Bulka treated everyone equally with the same dignity and the same compassion. People first. People first has been the guiding mantra of Rabbi Bulka and of Machzikei Hadas, past, present, and future. One final story. One Shabbat, Rabbi Bulka shared that he had visited the synagogue in the Bronx where he grew up and saw that it was dying. It was devastating for him to see the place his father had led, the place that shaped him, fading away. He told us we must always ensure children are part of synagogue life, that their voices, even their noise, are signs of a vibrant future. A few weeks later, during one of his sermons, a little boy made noise, and his father started to take him out. Rabbi Bulka stopped his speech and said, "Please, let him stay. Even if he's making noise, it's more important that he's here." That was Rabbi Bulka, deeply caring, sincere, and focused on the future of Mahziki Hadass. And that spirit of people first is alive at Mahziki Hadass every single day. When I left Ottawa at 18 to go to university, I assumed every rabbi was going to be like Rabbi Bulka, caring, funny, a great speaker, a community builder, always smiling. But I soon realized Rabbi Bulka wasn't 1 in a million. Rabbi Bulka was 1 in 8 billion. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. It's great to see you all here. It's a really special evening, I'm sure, for all of us. My family and I have been proud members of this shul for almost 40 years. During that time, until his tragic passing, Rabbi Bulka was my blessed spiritual leader, as he was my dear friend, confidant, community partner, business partner, organizing a trip to Israel partner, and lifelong mentor. He left a mark on me that is impossible to adequately explain even to myself. All I can say for certain is that he changed my life infinitely for the better, and that hardly a day goes by that I do not draw upon one of his many teachings or life lessons. When Rabbi Bulka and Rabbi Sher asked me to co-chair this capital campaign with Bram, I did not hesitate to accept, because I instinctively knew that a continued strong and vibrant congregation Mahziki Hadass was absolutely critical to the long-term future success of the Ottawa Jewish community. I saw the incredible work that Rabbi Sher was already doing in the few short years he was here at the time, and knew that this building had to be modernized and upgraded in order to help attract and retain members. Since his arrival now over a decade ago, Rabbi Sher has built on Rabbi Bulka's legacy of success and transformed the shul into a beehive of family activity every Shabbat and every holiday. With a 20% net membership growth during his time as rabbi, Mahziki Hadass has bucked the negative trends of most other synagogues in North America, and notably now over 50% of the shul's members have joined the shul during that time. With the capital investment in this building having been made, including the dedication of this sanctuary, the future here is very bright indeed. To say that we are fortunate as a community to have Rabbi Sher take over from Rabbi Bulka would be a huge understatement. I can say without hesitation, as a succession planning advisor to family businesses, that the succession plan here at the shul was about as textbook as could be in its creation and implementation. It started with Rabbi Bulka deciding that a younger rabbi was needed to attract young families, and it blossomed from there. Rabbi Bulka saw in Rabbi Sher all the qualities he could have ever asked for in a successor, and gave him the space and the respect to figure things out on his own, while always being there to guide and assist as required. The two of them together were an absolute model of mutual respect, admiration, friendship, and cooperation, without what Rabbi Bulka called the dreaded three-letter word, EGO, getting in the way. on either of their parts. Rabbi Sher, just like we could never thank Rabbi Bulka and his family enough for all that they did for us over the years, we could never thank you, your dear Shifra, and family enough for all that you do in your own remarkably beautiful ways. May you and we all go from strength to strength and enjoy together for many years to come. Thank you. Oh, there's a photo op.
It's clear that Rabbi Bulka's legacy will always guide our synagogue and will always shape how so many of us lead our lives. I take a moment to thank David Smith for the beautiful reception this evening. David, you stand as a model of ongoing inspiration from Rabbi Bulka, inviting our community each year to the Rabbi Bulka Legacy Kiddush on Rosh Hashanah. I also would be remiss to not specifically thank just everybody that is part of this evening, everyone that has been a part of our synagogue from today and all the years past. That is on your hard work and dedication that everything has been built. And of course, shortly after arriving here, the Goldstein family, Rabbi and Dr. Goldstein, they became part of our shul and have just been incredible partners in really building on Rabbi Bulka's legacy. And now, as we conclude, I think it's only appropriate to finish off with a call to each and every one of us. What are we going to do to continue Rabbi Bulka's legacy? Just outside the sanctuary, you'll find Canadian Blood Services. They're here tonight to swab those who wish to become donors, a cause that meant so much to Rabbi Bulka. But finally, I ask each one of us to think of one person in our lives who could use a call, a kind word, someone who may be struggling, someone who may feel alone, someone who would simply be uplifted to know that you are thinking of them. Tomorrow, let's pick up the phone and make that call, because Rabbi Bulka was that person for each and every one of us, and we honor him best when we become that person for someone else. And with that, I thank you all for being here this evening. We thank Rabbi Bulka for everything he was for us and for everything he will always be. Please join us now for a beautiful reception in the social hall. Toda Rabba.